What's up, Copy Squad? Welcome to the second video of the Gary Halbert sales letter that we covered. This is part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, go ahead, go back and check that out. I'm recording at a restaurant because I'm visiting family out in the boonies of North Carolina. There's no internet. I have to do this somewhere, and it's closed. Everything, all the coffee shops, whatever, closed for Christmas. So anyways, we're getting into the second part now, and this is the body copy of the sales letter. So what you're going to see is that he's going to begin making a case for this invention that is going to make billions of dollars. That was the claim in the original. The lead was about this huge thing that's coming. It's going to make billions of dollars. And he's going to do that by showing you that there is a massive amount of demand for this product. It's universal. It's water. Everybody needs it. Okay, so then what he's going to transition from out of establishing this huge, like, unquenchable, insatiable demand is that he's going to start immediately selling you out of your first objection. The first objection will be, well, if water is universal, everyone needs it, what do we need this invention for? We got tap water. So you're going to see that he's going to sell you out of tap water, the obvious alternative, by putting out all sorts of claims about how bad it is for you, following it up with proof, and he's going to try to demonstrate to you that tap water is poison, it's full of rat feces, and he even goes as far as to say it can give you cancer. Alright, so you're going to see that that's going to be the biggest objection that he perceived for this audience. So he's going to try to sell you out of using tap water, and the obvious alternative solution, the only thing you could possibly think to do at the end of the sales letter, you'll find, is to use this breakthrough invention. Alright, so let's just get into it. Part 2.
Here's how he came up with his latest invention. He's got a horse ranch somewhere near Pomona, California, and one day he was out riding one of his horses and he was bored to tears. You see, this guy has a mind that just won't quit. So he gets to wondering, what would be the world's best product to develop? Is there anything that every human being on Earth must have? Yes, there is. It's called water. It's tasteless, odorless, colorless, and calorie-free, but it's vital to all life on Earth. Doesn't matter if you're a dog, cat, human being, elephant, mere microbe, water is essential. And there is no substitute. There are more than 5 billion people on this planet, and every single day, one of those people needs 2.5 quarts of water every day to keep healthy and stay alive. Okay, so what he's established here is, this is basically about the demand, right? And we saw on the Fountain of Youth promo, right here, tiny company about to go public with Fountain of Youth, we saw this thing right down here, Bribe City, I called it, and it was just a bunch of bribes. I'll show you the science is real, the demand is real, the treatments are real, and the company stock will benefit. Those two letters, the letter that we were looking at then and the letter we're looking at now, are very similar in the setup. They're going to tell you that this is going to be a big, big deal. How do I know? Well, because the size of the demand is massive. The demand is everything. It's not just, you don't even count human beings anymore. Now you can count dogs and cats and animal microbe, like he's saying here. There's nothing larger to compare it to. So he's already established that the demand is massive. The subhead here is about how big this will be. So guess what the following copy is about? This whole copy section here is about how big the demand is. But look how Gary does it. Like, Gary doesn't come out and say, the demand is huge. You need water, everybody needs water. No, he does it through the form of story. He talks about this dude out riding his horse and he had this idea. And that's a lot more engaging than to sit there and spit out numbers at you. First the dude's riding the horse, now he's bored to tears, everybody needs water. No water, no life. Well, this whole thing is big, big, big. But so what? There's more water on Earth than there is Earth, right? Yes, that's true. However, 97% of that water is seawater. But so what? There's more water on Earth than there is Earth, right? Yes, it's true. However, 97% of that water is seawater. And seawater, of course, is just chock full of salt. Anyone who drinks only seawater will soon die of thirst and dehydration as that person's body tries desperately to flush out all that excess salt. Of course, we humans can use seawater if we remove the salt. But that is very expensive. Seawater is not a good choice for agriculture or industry either. It kills most crops and literally and very quickly rusts out most machinery. In truth, only a mere 3% of the world's water is fresh, not salty. But almost all of that fresh water is locked up in glaciers and ice caps, or is deep underground, which means only a measly 1% of all the water on this planet is easily accessible to mankind. So why did he tell us all this? Like, the common person knows you can't drink seawater and live off of it, right? So why sit here and tell us that? Because on the heels of explaining how massive the demand is, and that is to say that the demand is universal, it's massive, it's worldwide, it's global, for no matter where you live or who you are, what you are. He could be an animal. But what he's trying to sell you is the fact that there is a company that is going to blow up and make a bunch of money, right? So how do you do that? Well, think about Apple products, and whenever they're launching a new iPhone or something, and people line up around the corner so they can get one before they sell out. What he's essentially doing is establishing there is an incredible amount of demand, very limited amount of supply. So up here, you see this whole paragraph, incredible demand. This whole next paragraph, very limited supply.
Hey guys, hope you're enjoying the video. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe if you want to learn how to write copy like the pros. I just wanted to stop for a moment and remind you that if you want this PDF and you want all my notes and everything that come along with it, you can go to kylethewriter.com/swipe. You'll get access to all my PDFs and swipe files, and that link will be in the description below. And let's just get back into the video now.
And much of that water is so polluted it is killing thousands upon thousands of people every day. Plus, it is making millions of us horribly sick. Do you own a house? If so, go down into your basement with a hacksaw and cut off about an inch of one of your water pipes. Then get yourself a strong flashlight and take a careful look at the inside of that water pipe. Guess what? Chances are what you are looking at is not going to be pretty. Rust, sediment, lead, dirt, little flecks of animate matter such as rodent feces, chlorine, mercury, and all sorts of other junk that is really bad news when you put it into your body. Think about what this means. Even if the city where you live does a perfect job, and it doesn't even come close, of purifying your water supply, your water, after traveling through several miles of pipes, is still likely to have lots of horrible stuff in it when it comes out of your water faucet. We have very limited supply, and he just killed off another option. Right? So he just killed off an alternative. So what he's done is what we call selling out of the alternative. Basically convincing you, he's anti-selling you on the alternative thing. Like, actually, you're going to need this. There's a huge demand, there's a very tiny limited supply, and your alternative is actually shit. There's literally shit in your alternative, rodent shit to be specific, and chlorine and mercury. So you don't want that either. So let's see how he transitions from here. But, very likely, your city simply can't do a perfect job of cleaning up your water supply. The problem is just too overwhelming. So what they do is they dump chlorine in the water, which, in a way, is good because chlorine kills a lot of those nasty disease-causing bugs in the water. But hey, you know why it's able to kill those bugs? It's very simple. It's because chlorine is poison. So the natural objection to saying there's rodent feces in your sink water is, hold up, come on, that's just crazy talk. Like, how could they let us drink rodent feces? It's not plausible, Gary. We don't believe you now. So Gary actually addresses this objection. So there's no poop in my water, you might say. And then Gary says, hey, you know what? They actually take care of that. It's not totally poop water. They dump chlorine in, and chlorine kills that nasty stuff. So he's kind of agreeing with you. He's meeting you where you're already at. Hey, your water is kind of safe to drink because there's a bunch of chlorine in it, but even the chlorine's bad. Okay, so he's still selling you out of the alternative here. That's why most U.S. citizens have fewer cavities in their teeth these days. It's because the chlorine in our drinking water kills those little organic microbes that eat away at the enamel of our teeth. However, using a poison like chlorine to kill the bad guy microbes is sort of like undergoing chemotherapy when you have cancer. In other words, not only do the cancer cells get zapped, many of your non-cancer cells also get zapped, and often your hair falls out, you get extremely tired, and your zest for life is considerably diminished. Speaking of cancer, there are 5 different articles in certified publications in the EPA, Massachusetts General Hospital, University of Alabama, Georgia, and Florida all prove drinking chlorinated water increases your chances of dying from cancer by 44%. So what we got going on here? He starts with some pretty weak proof, quote, quote, and then goes a lot deeper. So here's your claim. And we're going to remember our formula will always be we have an objection, followed by a claim, followed by a proof, and then a benefit. This is your copywriting formula. Everyone wants a formula. This is it, man. So here's your claim. He claimed chlorine is poison, right? So what's his proof? Fewer cavities. This is weak proof. And the reason I say it's weak proof is because he's got no statistics, he's got no credibility to this claim. He just says fewer people have fewer cavities. Have you noticed? It's very anecdotal, right? And then he compares it to cancer, which is like a really harsh comparison. And remember, he's still trying to sell us out of this idea that we can just rely on our faucet water, because the sink water is probably going to be your biggest competitor in this circumstance. He wants you to, I think he's going to want you to understand that you need this other thing. He doesn't want you buying into the idea that sink water is okay. And then he actually says alternative causes cancer. That's a pretty big claim. But this is all proof for that, right? He's got 5 pieces of proof right here because he lists the different authorities that are backing his claim. So you've got some like actual proof there. Although he doesn't say what's in there, he just says drinking chlorinated water increases your chances of dying from cancer by 44%. How much chlorine? Drinking it all day, every day? Having only a diet of chlorinated water? Like, pretty vague proof, but it's impactful.